Welcome to the podcast on changing demands on interims. I'm Danielle Goodrick, Knowledge Product Manager at CIPS, and joining me today I have Tom Lewers. Tom has over 25 years experience and operates at CPO level. He's worked within manufacturing, financial services, technology, insurance, rail, industry sectors in both senior, permanent and interim positions. Tom is a specialist in procurement transformation to include business case generation, targeting, operating model design, people leadership, talent management and agile working, as well as strategic sourcing and supplier management with both SME and global companies. So Tom, I'm delighted to have you join me today. Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
In the CIPS salary guide, we shine a spotlight on the interim market, looking at the day rates, projects in demand and length of contracts, plus skills in demand. And this is a key focus for us this year. So it's great to be able to get your perspective as a senior interim with a wide range of transformation expertise across various organisations. So Tom, can you tell me how long you've been in interim for?
Oh, I've been an interim now for about 12 years. And as you said, in a mixture of procurement transformation, strategic sourcing, but also client-facing bid support positions.
And how have you seen the interim market change over the years?
Well, I mean, the first thought is there's definitely less of a distinction between interim and permanent employment nowadays. That's absolutely for sure. The market is much more fluid in terms of demand and supply. I mean, interim demand continues to evolve also much more, in my opinion, towards interim leaders than interim managers, and also more towards interim technical specialists than interim generalists. So much more specialist than generalist, I feel. One thing that I'm really pleased to see is a continuing shift regarding gender and age too. It's great to see more women choosing interim as a career option, as a career choice. But also reassuringly to see how organisations are, well, they're increasingly embracing experience linked to age. And then the sort of final thoughts on this is, you know, we're seeing that technology advances continue to drive change as well, you know, where we work, how we work, the required skills, but also how we interact, how we collaborate. So I see those as a few of the changes.
It's really interesting, that collaboration we see across the profession as well. So have you seen a change in the demands that organisations place on some of the interim roles you've worked in and their expectations?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, definitely even more focused on delivery, but delivery at pace. Interims, you know, need to be much more courageous too. You know, we sit independently, the performance management protocol, and therefore expected quite rightly to be objective and challenging. And I've seen that as quite a, you know, significant shift of recency. What else? I mean, I think that there's a much higher baseline now regarding expectations of an interim. You know, your behavioural, your technical profile definitely must shine even more brightly than ever before. And final thought, I mean, the final thought is that there's much more focus, as you're saying, on a collaborative working skill set. But it's also to do with solving nitty-gritty business problems, and it's much more to do with having, you know, very strong change management skills, much less these days to do with plugging headcount gaps. So, you know, the bottom line, it is about great leadership, great interim leadership.
And what's the best part of being an interim for you?
I mean, it's easy for me to say variety and new experiences. You'd hear that an echo across the interim land, new organisations, workplaces, market sectors and challenges. Yeah, I mean, that's all true. Though for me, it's about the intellectual stimulus, working with uncertainty, ambiguity, leadership and people issues, cultural, organisational complexities. But also it's the buzz of addressing, you know, business problems and delivering outcomes that delight, you know, your client, delight your customer. So that's the mixture for me. It's great.
Oh, it sounds great. And so what would be your top 5 tips be to anyone considering becoming an interim?
Wow, right, okay. This is in no particular order, but what springs immediately to mind is firstly, you know, brace yourself for accelerated learning. You know, there's no induction, no settling in phase. You need to digest data super quickly, get to know colleagues around you fast, And as I said before, deliver at pace. So brace yourself for accelerated learning is my first thought. Second, be democratic. Be democratic and involve others around you. It's not all about managing up your line. It's not about managing the boss well. It's truly about collaboration, smarter ways of working. And at the core of that, is really your communication skill set. So that would be my second point. Be democratic. Third, I've talked about sort of being courageous. So I'd say be brave. Be brave and ask the difficult questions. You're objective, you're not affected by internal politics and HR performance management matters. So be yourself, be bold, be brave. Fourth, I think really it's about respecting the culture. So it's being humble and respecting the culture and environment that you are working within. Yeah, sure, be challenging, though respect the people and their current reality. You're probably joining amidst people challenges, leadership issues, and so on. So it's not about being better. It's about tough empathy, leadership. So tough for sure in terms of you've got to be challenging. Empathy in terms of active listeningship. Learn to understand before be understood. And those combine sort of how to fulfill your contract. But I think it has to be fulfilled with a very, very thick layer of common sense. Be relatable, but be humble. And final point I'd say is, for me, be realistic, be straightforward and embrace change. Contracts are typically short term, so it's unlikely that you'll deliver true innovation. So be realistic and deliver to the brief. Actually, just a short story just jumped into my mind. A few years ago, I walked past a food vending machine, actually, in B&Q. And a member of staff had written on a Post-it note saying, "Not accepting change. Thanks." Underneath, someone had written on another Post-it note saying, "Change is inevitable. Deal with it." And I think that says it all. Embrace change. So those would be my 5 points. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Tom. And yeah, nice added story there too on embracing change. I think we're all going to see a lot of change over the next few months and year following, obviously, the situation we've been in as well in 2020. So thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate you sharing some of your great tips with us. And I'm sure those listening will find them really valuable when considering becoming an interim in the future, perhaps. Thank you to everyone for listening today. We hope you enjoyed the podcast and use some of the tips to proactively take action in your career journey. You can follow the CIPS podcast channel and access the latest content at cips.org/knowledge. And you can access the CIPS Hayes salary guide for all the regions we cover at cips.org/salary guide. So thank you very much for your time today, and thank you for listening.